Day two of the G7 Leaders Summit was marked by conversations on Iran's escalating attack on Israel and the trade relationship between Canada and the U.S. U.S. President Donald Trump emphasized that his tariffs on both Mexico and Canada are aimed at cutting down the level of fentanyl pouring into the United States. Both Mr. Trump and Prime Minister Mark Carney agreed to pursue a trade deal within the next 30 days. For more on this, we spoke with former Department of Homeland Security Advisor Charles Marino.
Thank you so much for the time today.
Good to be with you.
Now, Trump and Mark Carney have said that they're edging closer to a trade deal. How much of this is likely due to a resolution of the fentanyl crisis?
Yeah, look, the fentanyl is impacting almost every country, especially in the United States. We know the hundreds of thousands of deaths that we've had in the United States. That only increased the last 4 years under the Biden administration with open borders. And as a result, the cartels have become the most powerful they've ever been at any time in their history, both operationally and financially. We know China's influence in this fentanyl crisis by providing the synthetics that are needed for production of this deadly drug. And so anything that we can do, first, strengthening the border security, which we've done under the Trump administration, and immigration enforcement, cracking down in the interior of the U.S., and also going after major supply lines. And that includes not only to the U.S., but also to Europe, is very important. So we've got to get this under control. It is a war against the world. In terms of this fentanyl crisis, and we need to hold those that are accountable for this accountable. And we also need to be working more across borders with other countries that are being just as impacted as we are. So it's a good step.
Now, what would you say makes the fentanyl problem more significant than some of the other possible contributors to this trade dispute that's going on between Canada and the United States?
Well, it really hits the bottom line, I think, all around. Look, economic security is national security. We know border security is national security. And I think what everybody is learning the hard way, beginning with Europe, especially, by the way, is that open borders should remain a primary pillar of any country's homeland security. You cannot secure your country unless you are controlling the borders in which it resides. And so to think that what I'll call this open border, experiment was going to lead to a positive result tied to mass migration and encouraging that, and also cutting down the ways you secure the country, detecting drugs and people that should not be in the country, that wish to do the country harm. All of this goes together. And it's time that everybody starts speaking the same language and almost accepting the basic foundations of what it takes to secure the homeland.
Now, I want to add to that everyone is speaking the same language comment that you just made. How does a cooperative relationship between Canada and the U.S. help address the fentanyl problem?
Well, look, I think in North America, Canada's got to be on the same page. Mexico's got to be on the same page, and I don't think we're there yet. I think we're further along with Canada, as we've always been, but Mexico has not been what I would call a reliable, consistent partner in this fight. First of all, the cartels are overwhelming that country. They essentially govern Mexico. That has led to the corruption in institutions. That has led to the overall fear and intimidation that they're able to wield, which influences many of the decisions that the government of Mexico makes, which is why I'm surprised to a certain extent that they're not more accepting of the assistance offer by the United States to go after the cartels. But I do still believe that this is because of the fear factor that plays into this significantly, as we've seen many politicians fall victim to the violence of the cartels, as well as law enforcement. So it's a tough situation. But like the United States did in Colombia, as they were trying to knock down an insurgency that was violent and very similar to the cartels, I think Mexico should be more accepting of our assistance in an open way.
Now, we've kind of discussed the border security issues, but how important is border security to the United States?
Well, I think in large part, the Department of Homeland Security was created for that very purpose by absorbing both Customs and Border Protection and Immigration and Customs Enforcement. I mean, these are two of the primary pillars of our Homeland Security, as I said earlier. And then you've got all the other agencies that go into this. But if we look at what's happened the last 4 years with 10 to 15, maybe even 20 million migrants that have come into the country, most illegally, or others by exploiting legal pathways into the country, I think there's no doubt that anybody of rational mind would have to say that a lot of dangerous people have come in as part of those large amounts. We're talking about criminal threats. We're talking about national security threats. We've seen, for example, a 3,500% increase of Chinese nationals come into the United States. These are primarily military-aged males. And so I think what you're seeing the Trump administration right now, due to the Biden administration's policies, is have to play a significant game of catch up when it comes to our national and homeland security.
Well, Charles, thank you so much for the time today.
Sure thing. You're welcome.